Did you see? Oh my God. So I don't watch TV, but I watch Wubby, and Wubby likes to react to my strange addiction. Okay. All right. A bit ago, I pop in. I'm like, let's see what good old Wub is up to, you know? Let's go say hi to my bestie Wub. Click on the stream. As soon as I click in, okay, now I see, before this, I see the thumbnail. The thumbnail has a lady. She's holding one nostril closed, like she's about to snort something, right? She's holding one nostril closed. And in the other hand, she's got a straw that's in a drink, and she's got it in her nose. And that's what the thumbnail is. That's the frame. And I'm like, oh, I bet he's watching my strange addiction. So I opened the stream, and the woman was addicted to eating food through her nose. She snorts all of her food. And I was like, what? How do you get addicted to that? I understand when something makes you feel good, or like, you know, there's something about it that's great for you. That just seems awful. Sounds like an OCD compulsion. Yeah, it's got to be something like there's unwellness mixed in a little more than with others that are addicted to other things. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it doesn't feel good. That feels like shit, right? So she would blend all of her food and snort it. And she was like, I've never been sick. She went to a normal doctor, and she was like, I've never been sick. And he was like, yeah, I'm really surprised that you haven't had, a severe infection and died by now. And like, she wasn't believing anyone when everyone around her was like, yo, this shit's bad. You could die from this. She was like, that's crazy. I've never even been sick from this. And then she goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, I'm really surprised you're not dead. You could run into an issue. He was like, you are going to die from this eventually. Straight up. Bro was like, you're going to get an infection from this that will kill you, because it's going to be like a lung infection, and it'll be super difficult to treat, and it'll be really easy for the infection to spread because you've got all these food particles in your lungs, and it's just going to spread so fast, and it's very likely to kill you. And she was like, she came out of the room, and she's like, I can't believe it. She was like she was listening to him, but she wasn't listening to him, right? Hearing, but not listening. It was crazy. And she started trying to eat food. She was like, occasionally I relapse. On what? Snorting food? It feels like shit. Like what? Ugh. Oh my God. So, gotta be one of the worst episodes I've seen by far. So weird. It's better than the lady who was addicted to eating raw meat and was coexisting with Ebola. Yeah. Oh my God. She might have been same episode or a couple weeks before, like similar time though. I saw that one too. Thanks to his stream, of course. I saw that one too, and bro was just like, yeah, I eat tons of raw meat, and I just can't eat cooked meat. It's disgusting, and I've never had an issue. And then she goes to the doctor, and they do like, stool sample, and they check her esophagus, they check everything, and they're like, yeah, you've got Ebola. It's been living in you this whole time, and it's gonna slowly eat away at you, and you'll probably die if you don't, change. And she was like, I don't get how these things start. I understand. I'm understanding of some of it because I am diagnosed with OCD. I myself have it. Okay. I've talked about this before, but the stuff that I do is not like I couldn't imagine myself. There are other things I can imagine myself like getting tripped up on and like, starting to like feel compelled to do X, Y, Z. But most of it not really that I see on this show, like the eating related stuff. I don't know. I have some tendencies like, I don't like to mix all my foods on the plate very much. I prefer to eat them separately. And you know how some people will like, you have a plate with like 3 things on it, they'll eat a little bit of this and then a little bit of that. They'll go like A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. I tend to do like all of A, all of B, all of C. Like, I don't care if the food's touch. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, whatever. It's not something that I'm like addicted to doing. Because if I just consciously go, I'm going to go ABC today, I could just do it. Right. But like, I noticed that I have a strong tendency to want to do that, to like eat all of that one thing first, then all of the next thing. Right. Right, like all the fries before the burger instead of like going back and forth. I'll be more likely to do that. So I can see how maybe it starts as like a little thing like that for these people, and then it turns into something deeper for them. But I just can't imagine, like, some of these people start crashing out. they eat like something mixed with something else, and they start freaking out. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe I just ate that. And I'm like, you gotta be a certain deep level of unwell to really like get like that. It sucks. But then the ones where they're like, I eat sand, that's the stuff I'm like, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know. I don't know where that starts. I eat sand. Like it's one thing if you're like, I eat things in a certain order and I can't mix these things together or whatever. But when you're straight up like, I snort my food, I'm like, I don't know where the hell that comes from, dude. That's just kind of crazy. Isn't eating burger first, then fries pretty normal? Yeah, but like OCD is more like I can't possibly do it another way because if I do, something's wrong with it. It won't taste the same or it won't feel right. Or sometimes there are certain levels of delusional and they're like, if I don't eat this thing first, then I'm going to throw up, right? Their brain just convinces them of some shit that's not going to happen, but they just can't help but like focus on, oh my God, what if? Right? So that stuff I get when it's baked into like normal eating, but yeah, I eat sand. I don't understand it. I don't know where that comes from, man. I'm John Normal and I don't freak out if my routine is broken. Same. I've got some friends that can't handle their routine being shifted, and I never know what to say to them other than suck it up. So I try to be nice. But I don't know. Like, I got some friends with streaming especially, where if I ask them to do a thing, you want to do this with me, you want to do that with me, you know, whatever, and it's something that they'll have to change up their schedule for a little bit. They'll just be like, I can't do it. And when I ask why, it's one thing if they just say like, I just like to stick to my schedule for my audience or whatever. Fine. But some people are like, no, I could not ever do this. It feels so wrong, blah, blah, blah. And the way they talk about it sometimes, I start to think like, this feels like OCD to me when they talk about it a little bit. It could also be general anxiety disorder, right? There are other things that it could be. But either way, it's like a real anxiety cycle that can be a little crazy. Comfort. Yeah. OCD is, it's that like worry into comfort cycle. It's just, you just do a thing. You worry about something and then you do something to fix it or make yourself feel better about it, to counteract it, you know, whatever it is. You do that and you just do that over and over to the point where you can't stop. Now, every time you think about the thing, you have to do this other thing or you won't feel all right. That kind of stuff. That's all it is. Now, I mean, do you think OCD helps in some aspects of life? No, I think it's nothing but negative. I got really tired of a lot of media showing it as like, oh, you know, like Monk is a good example. I liked the show, but still, they were like, oh, he has OCD and he's so detail oriented, and because of this he sees so many things other people don't notice, and you know, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's a superpower. Yeah, OCD genius detectives, right? That stuff really bothered me. But I thought the show was good. Like Monk, the show was still good, you know. But yeah, a lot of people would be like, it's a superpower and you can use it for good. You can't really control it like that most of the time, you know. Like, it's not like that. But yeah, Monk was a better representation because yes, they did show him like struggling against it constantly, and I was like, thank you, because that's what it is. And it was more about a story of him overcoming it, you know, not him being like, I'm gonna use my OCD to be the best, whatever, you know. So it's like when people think autism is a superpower. No, it's ruined my life. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the person. There are definitely positives, but and I think the intent is good, that people are trying to teach people who do have autism about it in a way that isn't wholly negative. There's a lot of good intent there, but it is a disability. You shouldn't teach like kids that have it as they're getting older that it's not a disability, right? It is a disability that you could find ways to also harness and work with more than some others, and that's great for sure. You know? Yeah, trying to see the positive in the negative is good, but you can't try to see the positive in the negative and then pretend the negative's not there too. Because then you're not teaching kids to like realistically work with themselves, you know? I have a lot of friends that have varying types of and degrees of autism. And many of them have complained about it. They've complained about that. Because a lot of my friends, there's a big spectrum, LOL, but there's a big spectrum of them that were raised, you know, earlier and later. So some of them that were raised well before anyone said like that, oh, it's a superpower. Like they were raised in the, you know, go with the quote unquote normal kids and be normal. And that's how they were raised, and you just had to adapt. And then I have other friends that are a little younger and they were kind of raised during that, oh, it's a superpower kind of era. It depends on their environment too. And I've seen how they all kind of interpret it. And I think that wording of it can be really bad for them sometimes. It can. I think it's still, though, rooted in good intent, where they're trying to teach you, like, you're not awful because you have this thing, and you're not completely incapable because you have this thing, right? And there are ways you can use it positively. You know, if you're one of those people who remembers dates perfectly, remembers certain numbers perfectly, surely there's a way you can use that in your daily life to do better. Surely there's a job where that comes in handy. Depending on your just level of ability, maybe you could be a project manager and you could just remember all of the dates and times for everything that everyone agreed upon. You're basically a walking calendar. When you're note-taking during a meeting, you're able to recall stuff very well, right? Like, there are places for people who have these sorts of things going on that could be really good too. So it's good to talk about that, but you can't be like, this means you're perfect and nothing could ever go wrong, you know? Like, that doesn't help them, you know? Reality of autism is that there's a lot of help in learning that's needed to help kids and adults to manage it and be aware of limits and triggers. It can be very debilitating if you aren't careful. Yeah, like I've got one friend where sounds get her. Most people wouldn't even clock her as autistic unless she gets on like certain topics, but for the most part, they wouldn't even clock her just walking around and talking to people. But occasionally, like certain sounds will happen, and she'll stand there and she'll just look down and start looking uncomfortable, and she'll start like shifting back and forth. Not like pacing, but you like swaying back and forth a little bit, and like start like curling her hands up a little. And if that happens, I'm like, oh, she heard something that's really like thrown her. It's just thrown her off is the best way to describe it. And I just gotta be like, all right, look at me. Let's talk about something, you know? I'll ask her, I'll be like, is the sound still there? No? Okay, that's good. And she'll be there and she'll be like, I'm just sitting, all I can think about is when it's gonna happen again. I think the sound is gonna happen again. You know, like she just gets in this zone, right? And I'm like, oh, but you know, she just sits there and learns to regulate that and do what she can to, you know, keep herself from like crashing out when this thing is happening, right? But if she was taught like, this is your superpower, nothing's wrong, she might not get to that point.